Am I the asshole for refusing to host Thanksgiving after being stuck with it for the past 5 years? I, 38M, have been hosting Thanksgiving for my family every year since I bought my house 5 years ago. This includes my parents, siblings, their spouses, kids, and occasionally extended family. In total, it's about 20 people. I don't mind cooking, but the problem is no one ever helps. I do all the grocery shopping, meal prep, cooking, and the massive cleanup afterward. Last year, I asked for help, but everyone either ignored me or gave some lame excuse like, I'm not good in the kitchen, or, I don't know how to cook. Meanwhile, they're sitting around while I'm running around the kitchen all day. After the meal, same thing. They sit around chatting and drinking while I'm the only one cleaning up. So this year, I said enough is enough. I told them I'm not hosting Thanksgiving. I suggested someone else step up, or we could split the cost of catering. Cue the drama. My siblings flipped out, complaining about how it's tradition for me to host. My mom called me selfish, and my aunt said I was ruining Thanksgiving for the kids because they love coming to my house. Now, they're all upset with me, calling me lazy and saying I'm ruining the holiday. Honestly, I'm tired of being treated like their personal chef and cleanup crew every year, but now I feel guilty for putting my foot down. So, am I the asshole for refusing to host Thanksgiving this year? Edit. Thank you to everyone for your thoughts and opinions. I didn't expect so many responses, and I really appreciate the support and perspectives shared. It's been reassuring to know I wasn't being unreasonable in this situation. Thanks again. Hold your ground. These people are mean, entitled, and lazy. I wouldn't take their calls, read their emails or texts, or otherwise engage with them. Either that, or if you do answer, just say I agree. I'm too lazy to clean, shop, cook, set the table, wash all the dishes, and clean up all the mess again after 5 years in a row of doing everything by myself while the rest of you leeches sit on your asses and don't do a damn thing. And now you have the gall to suggest that I'm required to serve you. Why don't you look in the mirror and see who's actually lazy and selfish, not to mention entitled, whiny, ungrateful? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Their tradition is being catered to by you. They are fighting to keep that alive because all they have to do is show up, be fed, enjoy themselves and go home. You get the cost, cooking, and cleanup. I would start a new tradition, a nice vacation for you over Thanksgiving. Not the asshole. You can do an immediate family-only dinner and let the rest of the choosy beggars fend for themselves. Or get everyone to chip in $10 per person and order takeout or catering. Everything gets eaten on paper plates and with plastic utensils, then into a giant trash bag at the end of the night. Boom, done. Or someone else can step up. Or they can buy entry in with a dish. An actual dish for 20 people, not just buns or some stupid shit. Assign everyone a dish and let them know they'll need to bring it to come in the door. Not even joking. If they want their plate, bowl back, they'll need to wash it or it becomes yours forever. Not the asshole. I'd agree by saying, I'll have everyone over to my house. Then, when they arrive, and there are no pies baked, no food cooking, no groceries in the kitchen and I didn't spend days cleaning, I'd say, new tradition, and everyone can order pizza. And they can suck it. Your family kinda blows. You're cordially invited to my family's Thanksgiving. We trip over each other to help, then eat, clean up and play games and watch football and yell at the TV. Not exciting, but it's about family and we genuinely like being around each other. Time for a new tradition. I worked with a woman who said her family's tradition, her husband and one son, was to prepare a turkey dinner, close the curtains, lock the doors, have their meal and then retire to watch all the football they wanted to. She was a teacher's aide at an elementary school and her husband was the chief of police at the local university. They'd had enough of extended family and wanted to just enjoy the time with the three of them. Sounds like heaven to me. I lived this nightmare for 10 years. When I finally pulled the plug, everyone was shocked Pikachu face. Since then, I only host close friends. We all cook together and clean up together. It's wonderful. I recommend you try it. Honestly, feeding the ungrateful is not only exhausting, but infuriating. Am I the asshole for using therapy to insult my dad and his wife? My dad, his wife, Eve, and I, 17 female, are in family therapy together. We started therapy 4 weeks ago and the first week we went to see the therapist individually across the week and from the second week onward we were in the sessions together. The first session we did together the therapist did most of the talking to us and she pointed out some things she wanted us to know and keep in mind as a group. Last week we started doing more talking and she asked us why we felt we were in therapy. My dad said it was because Eve had been my stepmom for a very long time and was not acknowledged in an appropriate way and he felt like we needed to work this out together because it wasn't fair that she has raised me for so many years and yet she's discarded as a mother. Eve said we were in therapy because no matter how hard she tried, I would not accept and embrace her as the motherly figure she has been in our family, and I broke her heart many times since she met me, and now that I'm almost an adult she's hoping we can turn it around. My answer was we're in therapy because my dad and Eve do not listen and cannot accept the fact I have never, will never, claim Eve as my mom or my second mom. I said they appear to be incapable of accepting the fact I have not changed my mind about her being my second mom, and apparently they were dumb enough to think that I was lying for years about the fact Eve is not my mom. I said I had always been honest about this and never claimed otherwise. And that they believed me too young and dumb to know how I felt. So now that I was 17 and saying the same thing as always, they had panicked and were still being dumb about this and thinking they can pressure me into feeling a different way. My dad and Eve were pissed about what I said. They told me I did not get to use therapy to insult them. I pointed out I had not wanted to go to therapy with them in the first place. The quick BG. They got married when I was 8 and I lost my mom when I was 5. That's a sensitive subject with Dad because he always blamed her for her death. She went out with friends and ended up drinking too much, which led to her death. And he, and Eve, think it should have made me more willing to have another mom. But I never accepted Eve as my mom. Not even when she gave me half-siblings. I always said I would not call Eve mom. I have always said I have one mom. I said no to their faces when they asked me to say I have 2 moms. We ended up in therapy because my aunt died 4 years ago and my uncle is getting married again. My cousin was upset about, and I was talking to him and we talked about the whole 2 moms thing, and I said I only have one and Eve was never my mom to me and his almost stepmom doesn't have to be to him either. My dad and Eve heard, were horrified, and insisted on therapy. Am I the asshole? Info. What did the therapist say in response to you? And what did they say when your dad and Eve got upset? Not the asshole. Tell your dad that if Eve dies, you're going to pick out a new wife for him based on what you want in a mother, not what he wants in a wife, and you will take it as selfish, rude, and disrespectful if he does not love his new wife exactly as he loved Eve, with no differentiation allowed, and no coolness or lack of affection. If he objects, ask him why you are supposed to treat people as interchangeable. Replace someone you loved deeply with a stranger he picked for you based on what he wanted in a wife rather than what you wanted in a mother, and change your feelings forcibly to suit what he wants in a family, when he won't do the same for you. Why is being called mom so important to them, especially now? After 9 years, why are they insisting now? Is there some sort of inheritance linked to mom, and you turning 18? Also, nothing you said was insulting, they just didn't want to hear it. So hard, not the asshole. You don't owe it to them to accept her as your mother. That's a totally ridiculous claim to make. Your dad chose a relationship with her. That puts zero responsibility on you. Doesn't matter how nice she might be, how long they've been together, etc. Nope, nope, nope. Not the asshole. While you should acknowledge what your stepmother does for you in the household, you do not have to consider her your mom, second mom, replacement mom, or anything like it. Getting married was their decision, and that's their relationship. The relationship you have with your mom is between you and your late mother, and your feelings are yours. The relationship you choose to have with Eve is between you and Eve, and you get to decide what she is to you. Am I the asshole for refusing to lend my car to my friend after she wrecked it last time? I, 29M, have a decent car that I worked hard to buy. It's nothing fancy, but it gets me where I need to go. A few months ago, I lent my car to my friend, Kelly, 28F, for a weekend trip. I trusted her, and I thought it would be fine. However, she ended up wrecking it, totaled the front end. She swore it was an accident and offered to pay for the repairs, but it took weeks to get it fixed, and I was out of a car during that time. After she finally paid for the repairs, I was still feeling pretty uneasy about lending my car again. Fast forward to last week, Kelly asked to borrow my car for a family event because her car was in the shop. I hesitated and told her I was uncomfortable lending it out again after what happened last time. She got really upset and accused me of not trusting her. I tried to explain my feelings, but she kept insisting that I was being dramatic and that it was just an accident. Now, our mutual friends are divided. Some think I should give her another chance, while others agree that I have every right to be cautious. I feel terrible for letting her down, but I also think my feelings are valid given the circumstances. Am I the asshole for refusing to lend my car again? Not the asshole. She is right, you don't trust her, and with good reason. She wrecked your car when you loaned it to her as a favor, and, even if she paid for repairs, you still had to deal with not having a car while it was getting repaired. Basically, your friend is upset because she is dealing with the consequences of her own actions. It's your car? You can't be forced to lend it? The only reason they are comfortable asking is because this is a duh and should NT even be doubted. But you doubt and they know they can push you over. That's all I get from these posts, as there is no way you can be an asshole for your property. People only do what you allow. Not the asshole, but you will be to yourself if you continue to let people push you over, Let them feel it's comfortable bombarding you to change your mind. Am I the asshole for refusing to lend my car? Not the asshole. You don't need a reason for not lending your car. You have no obligation to ever lend your car. You don't have to and should not explain or provide reasons. You should simply say, no, that doesn't work for me. Your friend is acting awfully entitled. If she doesn't have a car and needs one, she can do what the average person does and rent one. Not the asshole. If your friends think you're overreacting, then they are welcome to loan their car instead. Not the asshole. I'm really surprised how easygoing a lot of people here are about lending people their car. And how entitled borrowers can be. Cars are expensive. She has absolutely no right to your car and you don't need a reason not to lend it to her. Car rental places exist for this purpose. Not the asshole. Her car was in the shop? When she knew she had a family event. Was her car crashed and in for repairs? A service of a car takes a couple of hours at most, and you know the time and date for it. You don't plan it when you need your car. Am I the asshole for telling a woman to get out of my personal space? Today while returning a few items in a big name store I, 35F, waited in line next to the sign that read, "Please wait here for next associate." You know the spot. It's there so others can have space while taking care of business at the register. At my turn I noticed the woman behind me, older, I guess mid-60s, followed me to the register and stood next to me about a foot away. I looked at her and calmly said, "It would be nice to have personal space while I'm here taking care of my business." She caught an attitude and mumbled something about not being in my personal space. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Get out of my A." Based off the look on her face and her mouth hanging wide open in shock, I'd say she didn't appreciate my statement. Before she could think to respond, the associate handed me my receipt. As I walked away she was mumbling, the only word I could make out, that one beautiful B word. Edit to add. She gave me attitude when I first addressed her. I responded with attitude. I didn't yell at her. I did use my serious mom voice. Also, I did not call her a bitch. That was her final word within my earshot. Not the asshole. You told her you needed space and she said you didn't. God save us from people who are clearly in the wrong who try to turn it around on us. There's zero reason to not wait by the sign unless you have a disability. How are there so many people saying you're the one in the wrong? There's literally a sign saying for people to wait there. If she can't read the sign, she shouldn't be alone in the store. Rude ass people get rudeness done. Not the asshole. Absolutely not the asshole. People need to keep their distance. Not the asshole. I just had this happen to me at TJ Maxx not 2 hours ago. Literally I'm standing at the front end of the queue and this lady charges up so fast I actually stepped back for fear she'd run into me. I asked her if she was trying to catch up with someone at the register, to which she snapped, "No, I'm just in a real hurry." So I politely responded, "Well, could you please take a few steps back then because you're much too close to me," and she started raving. Thankfully, "Register number 2 please," sounded out before I could even bother to reply, but what the fuck are people on lately? If you want to crawl up my asshole, take me to dinner first. Freaks. Musical note. If someone is that close when your purse is open and you are distracted, it's likely that you'll lose something. So not the asshole. Esh. She should have given you space and backed up the first time you said something. But you escalated the situation way too quickly, emo. You could have pointed to the sign to show here where she's supposed to stand, or you could have asked the employee who was helping you to ask her to back up, or you could have just ignored her and finished up your return without causing a scene. As it sounds like you were pretty close to being done by the time you confronted her anyways. So I'd say she was in the wrong, but you handled it poorly.